To save you when your business gets too busy. That is today's podcast. We have a house full of lions. We are the usuals who are on the podcast all the time. Flor, Vick, Nate, and myself. And we're going to be talking about focusing on operations, automation. For those of you who believe in AI and who don't, you guys are going to fall behind. We're talking about that today. So, Vic, what do you think about having systems in place in order to help you get through that busy season, or sometimes even get through a slump that you're going through? Sticking to your systems that can help you get out of that.
All right. So I think the systems and automation are a double-edged sword. I think if you waste too much time on the systems and don't worry about your production, then you can get lost just building a lot of unnecessary things out. With the conversation in mind that we had last week or on the last podcast, which was agents branding themselves and being busy, they start building these things out that they feel that they need, and they maybe never get the business. What craziest thing about all this is that my busy agents never take the time to build out their systems, so they never get to take time off. They never get to like recharge, reconnect, and they sometimes hit burnout, which is a bigger issue. So I think if you want to avoid burnout, you need to set up systems in place to allow yourself to get that recharge, reconnect to the things that like you love and they keep you fueled all the time. I think it's super important to set up systems for sure.
How do you feel about agents using AI to set up their systems?
I 1000% think that you should be using. I was telling, our super humble and that shows a lot of humility, doesn't have any ego, broker of ours, that he should be using some systems to help him with like brainstorming sessions. But, he prefers to do it the old school way. And I think recently, you can talk about this. I think you're using it to your advantage, right? The automation, the AI.
The AI, not really. No, I don't like the way people.
He said, I don't use it at all.
No, that's not what I said at all. You're misquoting me. I said that not really. I don't really use AI. And I think you saw how I used it. I just typed in just a random question, just out of the blue, right? Just to show how, it's just going to pull information off of the internet. And it's no different than, if you Google something, you never know if anything's true anymore because everybody has different opinions, So I think that AI should not be used the way that that you guys are using it, or like many people are using it. I think AI should be used for specific things. Like if you do your own research, right? And then you can type in prompts. I think really before anybody starts using AI, I think they should take. I think there should be a class for it. I think people should take a class on how to make prompts.
I think that's the only sentence that I agree with you on. Is that before you start using AI,
you need prompts.
You should learn how to prompt it. And I want to clarify for the audience here, all of my 2 viewers that I get every week, that we do focus on prompts. And I do think that you are correct in that aspect. If you use ChatGPT as a Google search bar, you don't know what's right.
Yeah.
You don't know what's wrong. So you need to do your own research. You need to prompt it in the way to help you and not just lean on that as the only tool. And I think that's the most important part. You want to use this automation to help you. So back to Jovani's question, right? I was making a slight jab at Nate and AI, because we had a fight back and forth about we should implement AI or not. Mm-hmm. The reality of it is that I think when we learned about AI was, I don't know, let's say maybe 10 years ago, right? Mm-hmm. And they weren't calling it AI at that time. They were calling machine learning. It was machine learning is where you can automate some systems. Yeah. I think Jovani and I even toyed with the idea that essentially if you're looking at auto responses like from Facebook or things like that, you're automating some of your systems. Mm-hmm. Instead of us getting on there and connecting with the people that are messaging us, we can automate some responses, trigger some questionnaires, to capture leads and things like that. So we've been automating things for a while. I've used that same technology as technology advanced. I'm using AI in a whole different way, like through our transaction management software, where I'm able to submit some information. It's able to connect with some of our current systems, uploads them into an Excel. And then from that Excel, obviously we can track if things have been sent out, if they're capturing the leads, if they're sending them out. All of those manual tasks that we used to do, putting them from 3 different systems, are automated through, code and through the cloud. Mm-hmm. So,
and one of the biggest things whenever it comes to AI, in my opinion, is the fact that everybody who is using it is just gathering the data, right, all the time. So whenever you have a question that you're speaking to it, you have to speak to it like if you're asking almost like a teacher, right? It's not about you give it exactly what you want. You need to figure something out. So you have to ask the right questions, going back to the prompt, because you can trick or quote unquote trick the AI into giving you the response that you want, depending on how you're asking the questions. So it'll tell you whatever you want, depending on what you're feeding it to it. So you can't feed it something that you already want solved in a way that you want it. You have to pull a game plan and give it to it, and then it'll give you the response that will give you some kind of results. And then also you got to track it. You just can't take it and be like, okay, well, this is exactly what I'm gonna do. If it doesn't work, feed it back to it and feed back the information that you got. Okay, this wasn't working. I did so much views from this or whatever it may be. Feed it back to it, and then it will constantly learn, and it'll learn with you because it's going to remember your conversation, especially if you paid for the $20 a month one. That one is going to save everything that you're typing into it. It learns who you are, and it'll grow with you, and it'll figure out what's wrong and what's not working. I think it's a great tool, but you have to learn how to use it.
But
Hold on, I think Flor.
I don't know. I think, I mean, personally, yes, I've used AI and everything, but I feel like it's really making like agents don't like really think. Why? Why do I say this? Because I've gotten emails on presenting offers where it's either they don't know how to use it or they're not like really thinking, because they're literally like just copy and pasting whatever AI is doing for them. And I mean, the offers or the emails that they send is just like, to me, it's like nonsense. It is.
I've actually seen where it's at the bottom where is this, do you want to sound more arrogant or more this or more that? At the bottom, like the prompt, like they just totally copied the whole thing.
So the way I think that is, if we already struggle with a bunch of agents that don't know what the heck they're doing, like this tool is just going to make them.
Yeah.
Like,
so it kind of goes back, and maybe you guys are too young for this, but when I was, when I was in my teens, right, or when I was even in my early 20s, I had maybe 10 to 11 phone numbers memorized in my head. I still have my grandfather's phone number memorized in my head. I can say it out to you. And so the thing is that that whenever we started getting iPhones, or not just iPhones, but phones in period, right? We named the numbers, right? Oh, this is mom, this is dad, this is whoever, right? We stopped memorizing phone numbers to the point that if I lose my phone right now, I have no idea how to call my daughter. I have no idea how to call anyone. That's crazy. No, it's serious. I'm serious. I don't know. Wild. I don't know my daughter's phone number by memory. I realized the other day, I'm literally asking her, hey, what's your phone number? I was trying to get the insurance thing on her, and so I think that AI is going to do that to a lot of people, yes, where they no longer know how to do research. Because see, the way I use AI is I like, and I'm just gonna give you an example. So I'm trying to learn about a market, right? So I say, hey, how many, what's the population of this city? And it's gonna tell me, the population, right? Then I say, okay, what is it? What's the difference? How many Hispanics? How many this? How many that? Right? And it'll tell me, right? But then when it tells me, it gives me the website that it pulled it from. So then I start clicking on the websites to make sure that it's accurate information.
Yeah, it's a credible source.
And then I keep going. And so it's actually a whole thing, right? Like where I go. But there's people that will actually say, hey, give me a report on what's the population and what's the diversity and what's this and what's that and what's this, and make it into a freaking pitch deck. And then it throws it all together with a whole bunch of garbage that, that nobody understands or nobody knows. I mean, it's not even fact checked, or it says, hey, give me topics on a freaking, podcast, and then it's just frivolous, information that we don't know. We don't even know if it's accurate, Yeah.
But I think that's also the assumption that people are lazy. Mm-hmm. You're making the assumption that people are lazy and aren't doing the work.
Because they are.
But the reality is that we can't be the only ones that do the work.
Realtors are lazy.
Well, realtors are lazy, but I mean that's
you disagree, Vick?
I'm not going to disagree.
Okay.
Yeah. No, realtors are lazy, but that's the point, right? The realtors who learn how to use. You can't be. If you're a realtor who's not lazy, you can't be the realtor just because you're not lazy. You don't use AI. If you're not lazy, that's awesome. Learn how to use the AI and use it properly. It's a tool in your toolbox. Mm-hmm. It's like using a cloud CMA, right? Whenever we do a cloud CMA, it does the CMAs a lot easier for you. It does not mean that you don't go in there and double check it.
Yeah.
Right.
We still go in there and double check it. Sure. AI is the same thing. It's going to provide you sources, just like how Nate was saying, and you got to go in there and double check it. It's like back whenever you went to school. You just can't take a quote from a book, throw it into your paper, and not source it.
Yeah,
You
I
can't
think
do that.
I'll find out, and I think Flor as well, right? We'll find out fairly quickly how the educational system here in Texas will implement AI into the school. Because I know when I was growing up, obviously the internet was super, popular, right? Everybody was Googling everything. And Wikipedia was like the number one thing. And specifically, we could not use sources cited through Wikipedia because Wikipedia did the same thing.
It was not a reliable source.
Yeah, it was an encyclopedia, right? Online Wikipedia. And then you go through it and that's where you get a lot of your information. It was not a reliable source. You weren't allowed to do that. So in school, they would grade you based on those things. I know that right now for a fact, school has a lot of anti-AI systems that can see if you're using that or not. They from your system, from Grammarly, from all of them. I mean, as those systems are getting better for the consumer, on the other side, the systems are getting better as well.
And these young kids are learning how to use AI to trick another AI into that it's an original. I'm like, what? I mean, like they're literally, they're wasting more time learning how to trick the AI than to actually learn how to do research.
They are. They're really. I mean, I've seen it with my kids. They're trying to use AI to make sure that the documents that they're using are not plagiarized.
But even then, that's a skill in itself, right? Because it's like going back to whenever typewriting. Well, I mean, think about it. Whenever typewriting came out, people were like, "Oh, people are they're learning how to use typewriters and they're forgetting how to write." It doesn't matter, right? It's a new skill. We're going forward with it. You're never going to hold back society from using this new program that's out.
I think that's completely different, Gio, because, dude, with AI, you're literally using a freaking machine to think for you. Like, whenever you're typewriting, like, you are using your skills, your fingers, whatever, like, you're using your brain still to do the work. But with AI, dude, like, you're having a machine in front of you that you're not using, like the 5 neurons that you have left.
And that's where I disagree, because the only people who are using AI to think for themselves is automatically you can notice it's done by AI. People who are using AI to help them and they're using it as a tool, it's something that you have to learn how to use. Like, you just can't ask AI, "Hey, what's this?" and write me a paper on it without it being incorrect.
Hold on. I just heard somebody
you have to learn how to use it properly.
I just heard somebody ask AI how to do a addition, and I was like, "You're kidding me, right? Like, you're literally asking to add all of these numbers. Like, come on."
But that goes back to being lazy, right? I mean, the same reason why they wouldn't let us have calculators whenever we were taking tests. They wanted us to use them. What would the teacher say all the time? "You're not going to have a calculator in your pocket." Well, we do now, right? And going back to what Nate was saying, the only phone number I remember here is the Mike Jones song, because it's in 1-330-8004, because it's repeated nonstop. We have to embrace these tools.
So who's the most knowledgeable on AI right now in this podcast?
I think me and Jovani probably.
No. There has to be one that's more knowledgeable. You
Probably
or
Jovani. I talked to Jovani the other day, and I was actually impressed on how he was able to save like 3-day work and like 1 day on the way he used AI.
So Jovani, let me ask you a question, right? Is there a way for you to make the AI speak like you speak on email?
That's
Yes.
what he just said.
It is?
Yes.
Yeah.
But you have to use it constantly, and you have to teach it. You have to talk to it like, "Hey, this is the way that I sound. This is my previous files. This is what I write. This is what..." They'll give you. This is you ask a question. "Hey, I want my email to be about this, boom, 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 boom," whatever it is. They'll spit it out, and then you're like, "No, this is how I would write it." Keep it in as a note, and you always have to keep correcting.
So
it.
this is so I was back and forth an email with somebody, and it looked like a professor at a college, and I'm like, "Oh my God, what are these words?" And I'm like, and so then whenever the person finally called me on the phone, she's like, "Hello," she's like, "You expect me to believe that you cannot?"
Just because they have an accent does not mean that they don't know how to write.
No, did not use any eloquent word in the English vocabulary. Okay, and so the thing is that I mean, I think there should be a rule: if you can't spell it, don't use it. Or if you don't even know what if you don't know what it means, don't use it. So these people are just typing stuff up into ChatGPT and sending it over as emails, and I'm like, what are you talking about?
It's the same with the property, properties descriptions.
Freaking
and-
boast. Y'all stop using boast. I hate it all the time.
Boast?
Yes, everybody, this property boasts this, boasts a big backyard, boasts a big bathroom, boast is everywhere.
Yes, they'll just go to AI, ask for a proper description of whatever they're selling, and I mean that's how it's literally copy and paste.
No, I think so. A lot of the things that I do with AI is to say, you're ever able to update some of your trainings or some of your information, and as Jovani was saying, it starts to learn the way you speak and the way you do things, and kind of what you're going for. There's a lot of things, and I think that was one of the biggest problems with AI. They were talking about companies using AI, how that information could be out there in the world, and there's a lot of issues with putting your business out there. I would say that I've used AI for some growth strategies, and neither here nor there. If AI learns you, right, learns the type of person that you are, I implemented a growth strategy that I thought my AI is like super supportive and congratulating.
Yeah.
He's like, you did great. This is awesome, but you should change these 2 things. And I was like, oh, okay. It's positive reinforcement. I was like, I like that.
Vick is like, man, that's why I have you. You're the only one that can't complain.
I'm gonna stop talking to my team.
So listen. So I asked ChatGPT. I said, between Victorino Cortez Jr. and Jovani Frank, who is the most knowledgeable in AI technology? It says
neither.
It says Victorino Cortez Jr. Jovani specifically. Wait, hold on. Victorino Cortez Jr. versus Jovani Frank specifically in the AI realm, right? It says that Jovani uses it to look at credentials, bro. How does it know this about you?
Credentials?
Yeah, check their projects or publications. You use it for a professional role, Jovani?
And Vick.
Vick said, don't read that.
Please don't read it.
Jovani specializes in realm of AI technology expertise. Dang, you're an expert on this, dog?
I don't know. There's a lot of Jovani.
It's another
friends.
Giovanni.
Oh, maybe
It's just
maybe there's another
Bro,
one.
like that's okay. So hold on. This is a perfect example. You just can't throw stuff at the AI and expect it to give you like the answer. Does it know who I am?
Regardless of what Nate is saying, he reads that stuff and believes it.
I don't know.
That's the problem here.
I don't believe any of this because both of y'all know less about AI than me and Flor.
I'm the one who's teaching Flor, so I don't know.
I don't know. That's a wild.
Whatever. Bye. Can I leave the podcast now?
Yeah.
But one thing that I will say is that if you pay for the $20 one a month at ChatGPT,
Damn, bro, how much you getting on that, bro? They give you like a
Shameless plug.
shameless plug.
Like and
No, no,
subscribe. Like and subscribe.
but you can create a custom GPT and upload all the documents that you have to it. And like me personally, one of the lines that I have in there is the way that I speak is like a friend. I always say I like people to feel like they're buying a house with a friend or they're talking to a friend. So all of my captions, all of my emails, anything that I give it as a task, it has that tonality of someone speaking as a friend. I never want it to sound too professional. I want it to sound laid back unless I need it to go that far. But it's very rare that I need it to go that far. 9 times out of 10, I want it to sound professional and friendly at the same time, like if you're talking to a friend. So that's how all my stuff is spit out. It sounds like that because that's the tonality that I gave it to speak. I didn't just ask it, hey, write this email for me. I let it know what my guidelines are, the type of people that I talk to, and how I like to present myself.
So there you go. I think you have 4 pretty experienced people in real estate here, and we all use AI in a different way. And there's a lot of different implementation tactics for AI. What I can say, I think we can all agree, is if you're new to the business, you should steer away from some of those things and learn how to do it the right way.
Yes.
One of the things that Jovani brought up right now, which was the cloud CMA, is very concerning that my agents are willing to pay for a system to just learn how to do comps. But cloud CMA doesn't let you pull comps for lots. So what do you do when you have raw land? Mm-hmm. You don't know how to pull comps. What happens when you have to do rental properties or other things? You can't really change. I think they recently implemented where you can change for sale or rentals.
Rental, yeah.
But it wasn't like that before, previously. And I know it's hard and I know it's difficult. And I will say, publicly that I am pretty sad and ashamed that, my awesome, broker, mentor, Theo over here doesn't know how to memorize numbers. Coming from where I come from, I had to memorize a number or two, and I'm still not going to let that go. If things come up and you get in a tough situation, you got to know who to call. And I still have my MySpace top 10 memorized. I can call my mom, my brother, Nate, his wife, my wife, his kids. I can call some people.
So I'm an upstanding citizen, so I don't have to do that. I'm asleep like by 10 o'clock every night. So there's no way for me to get in trouble after 10.
Ain't nobody say nothing about trouble.
You never know.
My
what's
phone
needed.
could die.
Yeah.
I'm an emergency. I ran out of gas. I don't know. A lot of things happen,
Yeah, and all I'm saying is that this is a good tool that everybody should be using. But going back to what Vic was saying regarding the Cloud CMA, it's very true. I didn't start using Cloud CMA until I could afford to pay for it. And I had already learned how to do CMAs the way that you taught me to do it, right?
Yeah.
Pull the numbers itself. And now it's something that I've been playing with. I don't think you need to pay for Cloud CMA anymore, because if you know how to use AI properly, you can pull all your data, upload it, and it'll give you a better breakdown of what it thinks that property can go for without, of course, there's no visual aspect to it, right? Because it's just plain numbers, but it gets pretty close.
I think that running comps is an art. It's a skill.
Yeah.
It's a skill. There's no automated system that can do that for you 100%
That can beat
efficiently.
it.
We can manipulate any system
Yeah.
to make it say whatever I want. Honestly,
but there is some stuff that you kind of have to use your expertise and your just your product your
professional
market,
opinion.
your market knowledge. Yeah, I mean there's it's really tough to do to just have like some kind of system that just gives you comps.
yeah, and that is my fear. Like your fear with everybody just doing the research. My fear is that agents will get lazy and will just revolt to that and
it'll
never
lower
learn.
comps. It will really lower comps and affect the market.
Well, I don't know if it'll lower
I don't
comps.
know.
If you look at the
think about
systems,
it. If you
I
get,
think it puts it higher. To be
yeah, it
honest.
puts them
Yeah.
higher. That's what I'm saying. Like, look at the automated systems like
Look
Zillow,
at Zillow,
high.
yeah.
Black Knight, high. Even the Core Logic, high. I think there's only one or two that are like pretty on par.
But do you remember what happened whenever they were doing those high comps? Zillow lost credibility. And when it lost credibility, then nobody was like, oh, Zillow says XYZ. Oh, I don't care what Zillow says. It's worth XYZ.
But I feel like that's just like interest rates. People forget really quickly, and people are already looking at Zillow's estimates again. They forget. Like the news is it's old news already. They haven't that issue. What happened 3-4 years ago? Maybe I don't even remember.
Anymore.
And there was a big pool of buyers at that moment. Right now, it's a smaller pool, and then you're going to have brand new buyers come into that pool every single time, and all they're going to know is Zillow, because that's automatically search a property, it goes straight to Zillow.
Well, has Zillow lost IDX access yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
Is there any way for you guys or for you, Nate, as a broker to kind of like prevent for especially like newer agents to use this type of tools?
Thanks to Champion School of Real Estate, NAR, and all the Instagram influencers that tell everybody that they're their own business and they can do whatever they want and they don't got to listen to their broker. No, it's tough to enforce that. Yeah.
What was your question?
Is there a way to get? Oh, go ahead. My bad, Flor.
Is there a way for the broker to kind of like tell the agents not to like implement this type of tools like AI tools?
Oh, I don't know.
No.
I don't think there's a way for you to like.
Did you see Jovani just try to mansplain?
I don't think I could publicly
especially newer
on that.
agents, especially newer agents.
All I'm
You
saying
can't.
All I'm saying is here, Lionsgate Realty, we have standards, and you have to fall in line into those standards. And I'm gonna leave that conversation at that.
Yeah, because like I do, I teach my realtors to use. I preach for them to use AI, but I also tell them that they have to double check their work. So I need to see, okay, this is the AI, and then I need you to show me how you came up with those numbers yourself. I need you to pull the comps. Okay, what about this comp is comparable to this property? You just can't tell me all the same square footage. No. Well, how does the house look? How do the pictures on the inside look? Like, I need you to show me that you did the work. Just like the teachers back in the day, show me your work. You just can't put, okay, this plus this equals this. No, they want to see how you got there. I want to see how they got there too. And maybe that goes back because I did go to college a little bit. And some people who who didn't go to college, they don't know how to tell people how to work. Right?
So, Flor, to answer your question, no, I can't force them to do that. But, Vick can do whatever he wants.
And I do.
And they work for Vick.
Yeah. No, at the end of the day, I was very impressed, and I will give a huge shout out to the Texas Real Estate Commission. One of my agents was doing their continuing education. Mine is not my continuing education is not up for renewal yet, but I happened to glance over and I was watching them kind of read through their stuff, and I'm always interested. I'll peek at it. And one of the new TREC laws or guidelines that were being passed is that a broker must assist every agent with their first 3 transactions. It was a new update that got implemented like as a law or like guideline, like brokers have to follow. And they're also going after these team names. So
It's true.
And who's been asking for this for a long time?
brokers, everyone. Yeah. So
Who in your company has been asking for this
But
for a
hold
long
on,
time?
I just
Jovani. No.
took that class, and it says that it not only the 3 first transactions is until the broker believes, that the agent is capable
Yeah.
of doing the work.
I love that. I love
Yeah.
that. And the thing about it is, I've been saying this for a long time. I've been saying that you can't just run out there and start writing contracts. It's a legally binding contract, and I think it's crazy that other brokers or other companies let you do that.
Yeah.
And we don't let you do. We stand on that. We're like, no, you can't run around and do your own contracts.
We've always said from the beginning, I said, while you're here, I never put a number on it. So, that's why that's what I said. I got to give a shout out to Texas Real Estate Commission. Props to you guys for hearing, our battle cries out here and really understanding, reading the room. Right. And one of our things was, I'm not going to give you a number of how many transactions it's going to take you to be competent. You got to do some transactions. You got to feel that you can handle yourself out in the market, because at the end of the day, you represent the brokerage, right? We've been building this company for close to 20 years now, and one mistake can ruin us very quickly. And I'm not willing to put my reputation on the line for an agent that's too egotistical or wants to, take, wants the clout or the credit or the praise for one transaction. It's not worth it. The risk reward is not there. Right? It's better for you to learn how to do business the right way. It's better for you to understand what's going on and to be able to represent yourself properly.
Well, what was the update on the teams?
They're going after their company branded teams.
I really do think that is one of the next biggest things that is coming into track, that the changes that they're going to make, because it's really unbelievable the amount of marketing that these teams are doing themselves. If they're its own little brokerage, I feel like that is extremely misleading for clients.
Yeah. I think, and that goes back to it being I think why Trek or TAR or even NAR couldn't backpedal on these things. Correct me if I'm wrong, Nate, right? But we've always been side by side here. And for me, with my growing pains, I think your growing pains may be obviously different than mine. My growing pains were on the media side. How I wanted to do media and I wanted to do these videos, and the tools weren't accessible. It wasn't easy accessible for me to do video, to get mics, wireless mics, to get, different lenses and filters and LUTs and all these things that they throw out now so easily, and people are selling packages. Those things weren't readily accessible back then. If I can assume, when you started the brokerage back in 2007, branding wasn't readily accessible as far as creating your own logo, graphic designers, company merch, websites for all these things. I would assume that it was oh my God, how do I even get that stuff? Just like it was for me with video. So if I take those two things into consideration, I could say that Trek made a decision to allow teams, because when you're starting a team back then, it would have been very difficult for you to get graphic design, to get business cards, to set up your own office, set up your own branding, logos.
Yes.
Very expensive. And it would have taken a competent agent that had established time in the business and that was ready to take on that risk, but didn't want to take on the brokerage risk. And when, if I'm looking at when those laws got put into place and the times that we were back then, I would think that okay, not just everybody's going to start their own logo, their own brand and going, versus today, back to AI. Hey, my name is Victorino Cortez, create me a logo. They'll give me an awesome VC, real estate logo like this, snap of a finger. So you have to read the room. You got to understand what's going wrong in the market. And like I said, I got to applaud Trek for those changes, because, I'm thankful for it.
Yeah. All that stuff, it has been, that change should have happened a long time ago, but it can't happen during a booming market. And until that booming market stops, right, and the pool starts shrinking, then you have to start weeding out the people, the interrupters.
I think as a newbie agent, whenever I had just gotten my license, honestly, I think that was really confusing. Even personally, seeing or learning, I guess, in real estate school, one thing, and then seeing something completely different out where like the logo team is like even bigger than the real estate company or the broker logo. Something that they teach you that the size of the logo is like of the team logo has to be like super like small in comparison to like the brokerage logo, and I'm like who's implementing these rules?
Nobody's listening. I've seen teams that have absolutely no branding of their broker.
The craziest thing about all this is that Nate and I did a marketing in 2016, 2017. I think Nate will remember because I would say it was a pivotal moment in the way we marketed and branded our company. Obviously I would brand myself as a co-owner or brand myself. What was it? I think it's just owner, co-owner, right? I think that we branded it on there. I got hit with, I didn't get hit through TREC, but they came after TREC violations that I was doing. They said that I was misrepresenting as the owner of the company. But what was crazy that Nate and I were both on the ad. Nate was the broker. I was just an owner on there. And they came after me hard. They gave me, I don't know how many TREC violations that I was in.
It was recruiting. We were recruiting.
And and the whole idea was like, hey, we have a broker here. I can coach you. We have a good strategy. Let's join. And we had to stop our whole recruiting campaign from that just because of. And now I see people do it every day, and I'm literally
and that's been my thing. Like people are like, oh man, you're just hating or whatever, and I'm like, no, bro. I mean, I couldn't say a dang thing on Facebook because they would jump all over. Remember the freaking TREC attorney got on me, the HAR attorney got on me. I mean, it was like they were like eyeballing me.
They didn't kick Nate off of HAR when he made a comment on something.
I thought that was crazy. I thought it was crazy. And then all of a sudden, COVID comes around and you have people throwing around their own. I said, it's a new real estate company. No, it's a team.
It's a team. Yeah.
I said, who are they with? Oh, Keller Williams. It's like, bro, what the heck? I said, who's manning Keller Williams?
Yeah.
Like, who's in charge over there?
And I'm telling you, like, I see, that's what I see. Like, if me as an agent see that as a confusion and like what's going on. Imagine seeing that from like a client perspective. Like if you come and you leave like your business card with your team name and everything, I mean, they're gonna think that, oh, this is like the brokerage.
You know what I like in a real estate team too, a realtor team. I liken them to you ever driving on the freeway like 80 miles an hour and then you see a cop car pull up behind you. And you're like, oh man, you slow down, you get all nervous, and then it gets next to you, and it's like one of those security cars.
Yeah,
those security cars that have their cars it's like, oh man, this do you feel like running them out the road, right? That's how I see realtor teams, right? But then on the flip side of that, right? My youngest daughter, she loves these shows about real crime and all that stuff. Where these people have like these fake cop cars and they pull over people and they kill people or they kidnap people and stuff like that. And so I think, man, it's dangerous, because people go to them and think that, hey, I'm with this real estate company, right? And then whenever they mess up their whole deal, they're like, hey, well, what do I do? Well, the realtor team's not gonna say, oh, well, sue me.
Yeah.
They're not gonna take responsibility. And how can you run around with no liability?
And that's what I was going to say. I honestly think that they're not going to end those teams until something like that happens. Until like a broker gets a big suit or something for somebody where it's coming from a team. And the team, obviously, there's no way that the team is going to be accountable for everything because they're under the broker.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But I don't know.
All right. And I think that's where we're going to end the podcast today. Let everybody go ahead and exit out, and we'll start off with Flor.
You can find me on my social media as Flor Velasquez Realtor, and I'm your farmer ranch lady if you need a ranch or land.
There you go. My name is Victorino Cortez. I am the president of Lionsgate Realty. We are recruiting, we are growing, we are hiring. You can find me on Instagram at Real Presidente. Look forward to hearing from you guys.
My name is Nate Balderas. I am the master broker for Lionsgate Realty. You can find me on all my social media outlets at Better Call Nate.
And I am Jovani here, your gracious host at the HBR podcast. And as ChatGPT said, I am the expert in AI. So if you want to learn about AI and join a brokerage, you can feel free to join my team if Vick allows you to get on my team.
Damn.
And then you can find us here every single Thursday. Not sure if I said that or not. Until next time.
Hey, let's